This is Steve. Steve is a Pacman Frog. Pacman Frogs are pretty dang cool. So I wanted to make a little video to tell you guys a little bit about Pacman Frogs and why they're so cool. First off, this is my newest animal. Meet Steve. I planned on getting a Pacman Frog back when I went to the Phoenix Reptile Expo, but I ended up using nearly my entire budget on my ball python, Sunshine, and my leopard gecko, Citrus, so I ended up not having enough for a Pacman. Why Steve? Well, two reasons. The first is for my buddy Tom, who you guys might know from the vlog videos, such as that Expo one you can find in the top right. Tom always joked that I should name the reptile Steve, for whatever reason, so I promised him that if I ever got an amphibian, I would name it Steve. The second reason is for Steve Irwin, who's kind of like a hero for me as a kid. Anyways, why did I get one, and why are they so cool? To begin, Pacman frogs are also called horned frogs, and they are native to South America. There is not just one species known as a Pacman frog, there are actually 8 different ones. They can interbreed, however that will usually create a sterile frog because the offspring is technically a hybrid. They come in a variety of colors, mostly green, brown, oranges, reds, so on. The albino variety is quite popular, and that is what Steve is, an albino. You can tell by his lack of pigment and his red eyes. In captivity, they're known for basically being like a pet rock. They don't move a lot, thus they don't need a lot of space. Adults can live their entire lives in a 10-gallon. Their setup is basically substrate that holds moisture, usually cocoa fiber, sphagnum moss, a water dish they can get their entire body in, some fake plants, maybe some wood, rocks, stuff like that, and that's pretty much it. They don't need lighting and they don't need heat mats or bulbs because that can actually get them too hot. These are frogs, they're amphibians, drying out can equal, death. So that brings me to the next topic, which is humidity. These frogs need to have a moist environment, so spraying them down throughout the day is important. They're known as being little garbage disposals. They will eat a wide variety of stuff. As babies, they eat crickets, worms, so on. As adults, you can move up to bigger worms, dubia roaches, and even small mice. Just try to stay away from mealworms because the shells kind of give them troubles. There are many videos on YouTube of people who will drop random creatures in with their Pacman frog to eat. And while the Pacman frog will eat it, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's healthy for the frog. If you want a Pacman frog simply because you saw one of these videos of it eating like a crayfish or a crab or something weird, please don't get a Pacman frog. While yes, it might be entertaining, it is practically animal abuse. Try not to feed it anything that can potentially hurt it, is the general rule of thumb here. So outside of hosting Animal Fight Club, why would you want a Pacman frog? Well, for me, it's because they're relatively low maintenance animals that sit in one spot all day and become wide-mouthed monsters whenever you drop food near them.